Hello again and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and we haven't done one of these in a while, but we're going to do another Ugly Truths version, or episode, show, whatever you want to call it. And these get mixed reviews. Most of them are actually pretty good, almost to the point that I actually got an email, I don't know, a couple of days ago or whatnot, asking me to switch this from a series into a podcast, which I didn't even know was a thing. And so now all of the Ugly Truth videos are now a podcast. So apparently, I at least have one fan that really likes it. So let's get into this. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. Great to have you here. For those of you that have been with me a while, you know that there's no script to this. This is all off the top of my head, and it can go just about any avenue. So we'll see where this one goes. I got a few things rattling around in my head that we're just going to throw out and see what happens, right? So, ugly truths about SHTF. Now, being out in public, I don't know, the past, I was almost going to say week or two, but it's actually been months, if not years. The demeanor has changed. And this may be a little bit of an age thing, uh, but I can remember it wasn't that long ago where people interacted. People held the door open, they smiled, they said hello, good morning, thank you, excuse me, things like that. There was that common courtesy, not so much anymore. And I'm not entirely sure. I can't really pinpoint it, at least for me, on exactly when that change was. But it seems here recently it's taken a very dramatic and drastic turn for the worst. Nobody cares. uh, you have something. Let's just make up a little bit of a story here. Say that you drive for work. You go in and you clock in and you go to do your stuff, and the boss comes out and says, "Hey, your medical card expires. A couple of days. You need to go down." Okay. So you schedule the appointment. You go down, and they go, you didn't fill out the form. Okay, so how do I do that? I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? Like that's part of your job, right? Yeah, I don't know. Well, can you go get somebody? Yeah, I don't know who to go get. Okay, so what are you even doing here? But then you go into more. So the you find the form, you fill it out, you turn it in. No. You have to fill out this form online. We don't take written form. Then you go in and you actually are trying to take your exam, your physical and things like that, and and then they come back and they go, well, we can't finish this. The person that draws blood is they decided that they can't come in today. Okay, well, my medical card is going to expire. What am I supposed to do? And I don't know. It's not my problem. Who cares? Sucks to be you, sort of thing, right? And I've been seeing this all over. It doesn't matter. Uh, Everybody has that fu attitude. As long as it doesn't do anything to them, then they don't really care. And I don't know how that's going to play out in SHTF. You're going to have a lot of people. It's going to have rude awakenings. We just did that mini series here on the channel called "It Takes a Village," and I completely, full heartedly think that in any sort of an SHTF situation, is there a thing to the rule, an exception, if you will, on being a lone wolf? Yeah, you're always going to have the exception to the rule. You're going to have some. Let's just go out onto a limb here and say that. Uh, let's say there's civil war. Okay, so it affects the entire United States. You're going to have onesies and twosies dotted throughout that have enough skill and experience and maybe even just stupid dumb luck, but they'll make it through it. But for most people, that is their plan. uh, Sorry, it's just not going to happen. Okay, even if you have some uh, you have a big mag, you have a big group of people, you have a perfect everything. Nothing's perfect. And so we've said this before, and excuse me for beating a dead horse on this, but the most well prepared that you can possibly be with gear and gadgets and food and preps and supplies and training and everything else, you're still human, you're still vulnerable. And wake up call for anybody who hasn't heard me say that: anything can take you out at any point in time. It doesn't have to be anything that you're planning for. Part of the thing when it comes to being in the preparedness community is, at least for what I try and preach, is you prep for everything that's possible, and then you move on to the probable. Or I'm sorry, I said that backwards. You prep for what is probable versus what's possible. So we start doing things where we prep for um, any sort of a thing like a natural disaster, bad weather, something along the lines of an unexpected big expense. Maybe there's a house fire, there's some sort of lightning strike that kills most of your electronics in your house. Maybe a car or a tractor comes through your front door. There's a lot of things like that, and so those sort of things is what you would prepare for. Now, you can have multiple levels of preparedness of SHTF. You can have a personal SHTF. Your world can come crashing down, and it can be the end of the world as you know it for you. Everybody else, it's life as usual. Nobody knows your personal SHTF. That could be something as a death in the family. That can be something like the loss of a job, something like that. It's very significant to you. It's life altering for you, but nobody else is affected really. Then you can have localized. Maybe somebody's you had a gas explosion. One of the neighbors' house damaged 4 or 5 houses around it. Maybe there's a house fire and it spread or something like that. It affected a few people. Okay, that's a very small SHTF. 2 blocks over, they heard some sirens going off and smell the smoke, but for the most part, they're unaffected. Now, you can go into, there was a really bad snowstorm or hurricane, tornado, whatever, power outage for the entire city or a couple cities or whatever, maybe the whole state, and it grows from there. And so you got to go through and you got to prepare and you got to prep for what is probable. Now, if you believe that you have most of those bases covered, which, you got your food, water, shelter, medical, security, all those things. You got all your bases covered. Hey, it doesn't matter whether it's a drought or a flood and everything in between. I've got enough and I feel comfortable and confident. Great. Okay. And only you will know. Some people will have more security and some people will have less. Some people will have a lot more food stocked up, and some people feel confident in what they're growing and raising. Okay. It's different for everybody. There is no right or wrong. Listen to me. This is going to be the one time that I will put this out, and I stand by this. There is no right or wrong way when it comes to preparedness. The only way to know if it was right or wrong is if you survive, whatever the event is, okay? So you can have a guy out here that has no skill, no talent, never held a job, never fired a firearm, never held a bladed object, has no idea that food comes out of the ground, it comes from a grocery store, anything along those lines. It is possible, however minute, it is possible that they can dumb luck their way through 3 month, 6 month SHTF and come out the other side. They did it, okay? Uh, you can have somebody that goes through and spends countless hours training and reading and preparing, canning food, and doing all this stuff, stacking to the rafters, and something happens, especially something that you really unforesee. I'm telling you, if you go back and you look at history, anything of any sort of unrest, war, anything along those lines, there's a huge amount, okay, a significantly big number of people that do not make it, is things like infection and disease. you're going to get a splinter. You're going to get a blister. It's going to pop. It's going to get infected. Um, you're going to have an ingrown hair. You're going to stub your toe, and it's actually going to break the skin. And because you are unable to do laundry, you don't change your socks. It gets infected. Boom. There's a lot of this. Okay, slip, trip, fall, whatever. You got careless and you were trying to do too much, and boom, down you go. There's a lot of that is going to take a lot of people out, and I don't think people give it the attention or give it the necessary um, second look that those things deserve. If you look at like workplace accidents, usually people get hurt on the dumbest of things. Somebody left an extension cord lying around or something like that. Look at some of the statistics that uh, the amount of accidents, car accidents, vehicle accidents, uh, is under 5 miles an hour, and either A, within like a mile or two of your house, or B, in a parking lot. Like you're backing out and you take a look, nobody's back there, so you just floor it and boom, what do you know? You hit somebody. Um, People, not a person, okay? Let me make sure I get really crystal clear on this. People are panicky, dumb, they get hive minded. It's one of those things to where if you can separate a group of people out into an individual basis, so they are forced to think for themselves, they can't rely on whoever's next to them, so they can form their opinion based on what the other person says, or just follow along, just nod and agree, right? Usually people are kind of a problem. Now if you can get like-minded people, then you have a pretty strong force. But uh, it's one of those double-edged swords. The more people you get together, the more controversy that you're going to get. And so, if you get enough people in the room together, it's going to be one of those things that you can go, no, 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 we're a group, we're a tribe, we're a mag, we're strong. We train together, we do things together, we break bread together, we are brothers and sisters. Great. Now put everybody in the room and say, what do you want on your pizza? Okay, it's going to be really hard to get 20 people to all agree, because more than likely somebody's going to be like, I guess if we got to eat that, or somebody's going to say, I want this, and somebody's going to be like, no, 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 no. If you put that on there, I'm not eating anything. It's those little minute things, and those build. When you go through and you are forming your mag or your tribe, your group, whatever you're going to call it, um, you need to make sure all that stuff. You need to go through and not just gear up and run around and LARP and stuff like that. Now, LARPing is okay as long as you understand that you are LARPing. It's okay to go out and practice, gear up and run around and shoot paintballs. It's okay. It really is. It's got its time and its place, but you have to understand, when you go into it, what you're actually doing. Okay, it's fun, it's team building, it does get you outside, active, moving, it's exercise, it does give you a little bit of some training. So there is a place for it. I firmly believe that it shouldn't be your only training, not by any means, but you need to do more when it comes to actually forming a mag. You need to make sure every single person is okay with it. And that goes to your wife, your husband, your kids. Everybody has to be fully on board, 100% unanimous sign off. If there's any hesitation, it needs to be dealt with now, not when the world's crumbling. That little thing that kind of irritates you, trust me, if you're on a 5-10 acre homestead and there's 10 families and all that, and you go, I didn't really think SHTF was going to happen, but what's her name, or his name, or whatever, uh, that little thing that bugs me, they're going to be around you nonstop probably, and it's going to build and build and build and become way more irritating. Can you handle that? That can break up a tribe. Some little trivial thing that you think is nothing, it could turn something big. Now's the time to discuss it, talk about it. Maybe you are overreacting, and it is just some small little tiny thing, and you're going to turn a molehill into a mountain. Then again, it could be one of the other ways around where you're like, no, the more this goes on, it's just going to become more irritating. It's going to change me. The more that I change, it's going to affect the kids. This, that, it's going to rub. Okay, trust me, you need to go through. Now, we've hit a ton of topics, so let me see if I can come back and touch on a couple of these so I can wrap this up, right? So, if you go back when we first started this discussion, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that's in for a rude awakening, and it's going to be interesting if slash when SHTF happens, that that hiding behind the keyboard, that keyboard warrior mentality is not going to work. You're going to have to go face to face. You're going to have people skills. You're going to have that interpersonal experience with other human beings. You're not going to be able to basically portray or put out that projection of power hiding behind a screen anymore. You're going to have to do it in person. And your choice of words, your facial expressions, your hand movements, all that, it comes into play. To sit behind a screen and slam on plastic keys while you sit in your underwear and have Cheeto dust over here, it's not going to fare well. Okay, sorry to break it to you now, but you're definitely going to need it. Now, here's the other thing: there's a lot of people, and there is people here in the prepping community, and to an extent, a lot of us have at least a tiny bit of guilt into this. Uh, but think about all the different excuses, okay, that you can come up with. You look and you're sitting here and you go, tomorrow I need to make sure I do A, B, and C. And this weekend I need to go and weed the garden and pick a few things. And I need to go top off some gas cans and do this and do that and this other project. And it's real easy as humans because we like the path of least resistance to just make an excuse. Oh man, you know what? It looks like rain. Maybe I better put it off for a day. Well, we all know how dangerous that is. You put it off for a day. Is it really a day, or is it a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever? Or is it even going to get done now? So, the best time to do it is now. Okay. Just get up, do it. You can do it. Trust me. Uh, just get up out of your chair, get up out of the comfy recliner, get up from whatever, get out of bed, pull up your bootstraps and get to work. That's the best way to get this stuff done. And so and I get it when we go into the job, okay? Everything's kind of changed. It used to be that you got a job at a bottom end. You had no skills, you had no anything into the job market, and so you started from the bottom. You were in that entry level position, and you paid the least amount of money. And so what you did is as you worked and you developed and you showcased that not only can I put on a uniform and I look neat and nice and I'm courteous to others. I'm doing my job and I'm performing well. I get raises and bonuses and promotions, and then you start working your way up. Not anymore. It's not the way it is. If you do that, you're going to be in a dead end job. You're too valuable to move because you are so good at what you do. It's going to take two, three, four people to replace you, and it's one of those two. Now you're in that position. Well, what do I do? Because I really wanted that promotion. I was working towards that promotion and it should be mine. I'm the best qualified for it, but you yanked it from me, it's not the way it used to be. And so I see it. There's a lot of these people, especially with social media and people being able to share those ideas. That's why they bounce jobs. I think the last statistic I read is the average person in their like 20s, I believe, they stay somewhere on the average of like 2 to 3 years per job, and they move on. That is the maximum amount of time that they usually give a job because in that 2 to 3 year period, they max out. They max out at vacation, they max out at pay, they max out everything. And so right there, they're going to cut their losses at being at a dead end place. They'll take that experience and whatever, and they'll jump ship to the next one, and they'll work 2 to 3 years there, and they'll continue to do it. And so you constantly are having this switch up to where it's constantly just new people, it's new faces. I don't know. There's a lot of you looking at the statistics and everything from this. There's a lot more of the older crowd that watches this. Think about, maybe it wasn't that long ago, or maybe all the way back to your childhood, to where you went down to the barber shop. That was the thing. Uh, there's not that anymore. It used to be that whole thing. Everybody would meet up at the school. You waked up on a Saturday morning. You got your cereal and some cartoons, and then everybody met up at the school so that way you could go do stuff. It wasn't planned. You had no idea what you were going to do. You just knew that after cereal and cartoons, that's where everybody met. You went outside. You got fresh air. You got sunshine. You just did it. There was no excuses, right? I could see the kids nowadays going back then. Means I have to put shoes on, do I have to, sort of thing, instead of getting outside and just doing. It's very foreign to me. And I don't know if that's just dating myself or whatnot, but you have that mentality right now. And to see how that's going to go when an SHTF goes. So to have that path of least resistance. And I get it, okay? Uh, 99% of the people, I believe, on this planet, they want paid the most money for the least amount of work and responsibilities as possible. I get it. If you told me that I had to cook, clean, go over here and clean out animal stalls and bale hay and brick lay and do plumbing and all that, and I'd get paid $2 an hour, or I can sit on this big comfy couch, watch TV and eat Cheetos or whatever and get paid $50 an hour. Most of us would be like, if you're going to pay me that money, I'll sit in that chair. I'm going to do a really good job sitting in that chair too. But it's one of those things to where the way things are becoming automated, the way that everybody is coming through, and the demeanor's changing, and then even the products are changing. I'm sure a lot of you have come across and noticed it as well. The value of everything has gone up, and the value of, well, I won't say value, the the integrity of the product itself has gone down. It seems like everything's either on national back order, or it doesn't last, or it comes and it's already broken. It's just everything's a headache. It seems like anything from food to electronics to clothing, nothing lasts anymore. It's that, whatever a warranty is, they make a product and they go, hey, we made this and they seem to last about 60-65 days and they break. Perfect. Put a 45-day warranty on that thing and get it out to market. It just seems to be what it is. Everybody's out to make a quick buck. Nobody helps anybody out anymore. It wasn't that long ago that when somebody had their four ways on the side of the road, without second thought, you stopped. Are you okay? Do you need help? Can I do something? Now it's the exact opposite. There's no way I'm stopping. It's completely, and I don't know that the whole world seems to be going this way. It's one of those that everything seems to go, and it hasn't been that thing. I'm not that old. I may look really old, but I'm not that old. It seems like it's only been a couple of generations and the entire world has taken a 180. The values and the morals have completely changed. We become a lot more relaxed and liberal on a lot of different things, and uh, I don't see anything for it. We're not better off. It's one of those things to where it's almost like we're going backwards. Like we hit our peak in humanity at some point in time, and we're going backwards. uh, you get that joke all the time. you were born naked, and you go back to wearing diapers, and go back the way you came. But it's the same thing, it seems like, with technology. You got a phone in your house and it was great. Then you got a cordless phone that was even better. And then caller ID, you could see who was actually calling. And then on top of that, now you have a cell phone, and you can actually walk way outside of your house and go down the street and you're still good. And it's one of those things to where we don't even want calls anymore. It's all sales calls or scams, or all that stuff. Everybody wants to just text and things like that. Again, you're losing that interpersonal skills. There's no communication, and you get that hooked sort of thing to where the only way you can communicate is you go back to using emojis, back into the caveman days where you just paint little pictures on the wall and grunt. That seems to be the direction that we're going. And so, to bring this back and close this out, to bring this back into prepping, it's going to be one of the things that I don't think anybody's prepared for. I think everybody has started with their food and their water, and they've got medical supplies and training, and they're doing all this stuff, and great, good on you. Okay, I'm proud of you. Are you prepared for the people that you come in contact with every day? The girl behind the counter at the fast food place, the young guy that's at the gas station, or whatever. All the people that you encounter, that you don't give them that second thought. They're just the person that works the counter. They're just the person that delivers food. They're just the person, whatever. Are you prepared for that I don't care attitude? If you go to think about it, it could be a very, very dangerous thing. They don't have that hesitation. Okay. I don't know how much it is to them on being a wake up call. That's one of them things that they could snap very, very quickly. They could become very, very dangerous to the point of you're like, oh, that's just Jimmy. Jimmy works the counter. I've been going into that place getting coffee every day for the last 5 years. Uh, you know, yeah, he's not nice. He doesn't really smile or anything, but he's never been a problem. Uh, Very well might be now. Okay. You don't know a lot of people. You don't know the struggles that they're going through. You don't know the things going on inside their head or what's going on in closed doors. They could be struggling really, really bad and on the point of snapping every single day, that every time that they wake up, they barely hold that string together. And when SHTF goes, they have nothing to lose. And so when they come marching across your front yard and you just walk out there and you're like, okay, I'm keeping an eye on you, Jimmy. It may be a different Jimmy. It's Jimmy on the outside, but it may not be Jimmy up here. There's a lot to prepare for when it comes to dealing with this type of mindset and that change in people. I don't think that the people are prepared for it. Us in the prepping community. I don't think we've given it that much thought. Uh, you know, they don't have those skills. They don't know who to go ask. It's that whole thing. They don't have that thing where they sit. Their attention span, remember, is 2 to 3 years. That's all they give you. There was that thing that's going around social media of it doesn't matter what college degree you get. It matters that you got the piece of paper because it shows an employer that you're willing to go somewhere for 4 years. Okay. The only thing is, though, is the trend that they're going on now, they don't last 4 years. They last 2 to 3 years. So it comes back to it. If you are getting somebody into your mag, are you just a fad? Are you just the thing that they're going to come and train and do everything for 2 to 3 years and they're like, you know what? Not interested no more. Okay, well, what were they? Are you have to replace that person? Okay, they could have been on security detail. They could have been the person that was on medical or on whatever. They all of a sudden just like, time's done. I'm out. You prepared for that? Can you deal with that? So something to think about. I went way longer than I wanted to. Hopefully it's okay with you guys, but stay tuned because there's definitely more information to come. I hope you have an amazing day, a blessed day. Say it with me now. remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.